Hi there crafters, it's Louise with you today. Thanks for checking out this video. It is my final share for the month of January. I have got a little bit left of this kit. I'm going to create a couple of other things, but the design team girls and I have been talking a lot lately about grid style layouts, and it kind of inspired me to get one of these on the page, but I didn't actually want to fill up the whole background of my layout with grid. I wanted to keep quite a bit of white space and have a little bit of balance in the background. So I'm only going to use just a little strip down the side. I'm cutting my sizes at about 1 1/4 inch, and that is because I want to distress the edges. So by the time I curve and distress those edges, I generally end up with about 1 inch squares. So that's why I just cut them slightly bigger, just to give me that little bit extra space to work with. Now, I'm using a combination of colours because these these papers are just fantastic to use, and I love the way they look in the background. I can't believe this tealy colour, I still have 2 whole sheets left. Like, really? I thought that would be the first colour I would use. Anyway, it's featuring now, so that's a good way to use up some scraps, is to create this little grid background, or in this case, just combining different colours without really overwhelming the page. So fun little technique, nice and easy. As you can see, I've just started with a white cardstock background. I am going to go ahead and just roughly distress all these little edges, have a bit of a play around with the way I want these colours to lay on the page. Nothing too technical here. I think that you could really have a lot of fun creating this sort of angled alternating background if you wanted to. Like, you could put the squares in different places and you could move them around until you had this really interesting kind of background. But as you can see, in this case, I'm going to keep them all over to the left, and I'm going to pull some little embellishments. One of them was this little ribbon bow that I had made for a previous layout that didn't end up on the layout, and so I am going to use this on this page. It was just sort of sitting in my little embellishment tray, and eventually I come up with a great way to add some texture into this background and to help with a little bit of using up some of the items from this month's kit. So the little ribbon piece, I think it was super cute, that little roll of ribbon. Really great for a layout, but in my case, super hard to use. So I've made the bow, and a little bit later in the video, you'll see what I'm actually going to do with that roll of ribbon. Now, for now, I actually haven't chosen a photo for this particular layout. I knew what I wanted to do in terms of the distressed pieces down to the left in that grid style, and now I have to go through and try and find something that's going to suit this. And just lucky that I had this recent photo where I had taken the dogs down to have a bit of a splash in their favourite puddle. When we go for a walk, they have this puddle that they always like to have a bit of a splash in, and I had the sun behind me and snapped the photo with my shadow in it as well. So it's kind of a cool photo, and one that I actually really like, and thought it met this particular background that I'd created. So that was just a stroke of luck, really. All right, now I'm going to glue everything down so that I can show you what I'm going to do with this roll of ribbon. So I like to use masking or washi tape, depending on what I have at hand, when I am sticking things on the back of a layout. Masking tape is probably quite cheap compared to washi, depending on the type of washi, but use whatever you've got in your stash. So I use this to really give some stick and keep everything on the back of the layout, even in this case where it gets a little bit wild and tries to fold up over itself, but it really does just hold things in place, and no one's going to look at the back of the layout unless they pull it out and actually specifically have a look. So that doesn't bother me in the slightest. And you can see that I've just twisted that ribbon around in the background. So moving on now to where I'm actually going to pop this, and I had thought initially to stick it up in that top right hand section and make this quite a balanced layout, but I do like, when I start to think about the visual triangle, how you can see that the points of the triangle are the top left, that sort of mid to lower right where the title Lovely is, and that bottom left. So leaving that top right blank really gives me that white space, and it's the open section of that visual triangle. All right, I'm going to glue my little ribbon on as well. Couple of little extra bits and pieces. I'm having a bit of trouble getting my glue to stick, so I'm just going to use my scissors to hold that down, which is something I do quite often actually. For the final stages here, I'm just going to add a little bit of gold splatter. So I felt that the layout was fairly complete, and I just needed, again with that visual triangle, to draw the eye from that top left to the bottom right and keep the focus on the photo in the middle. So adding my journaling as well. I certainly encourage you to try and at least put a date and people involved, maybe a location as you're journaling. Even if it's on the back, somebody down the track might look at your layouts and they will want to know what's going on. So that's my share today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed that, and I look forward to the next month's kit.